Elastic collisions are tough. And I'm going to show you the most awesome thing in the world in Python. I think it's the awesomest. But I want to first talk about how we look at just basic elastic collisions. So imagine that I have a 1 kilogram mass moving at 1 meter per second, and it collides with another identical mass that has a mass of 1 kilograms, but that's at rest. So what's the speed afterwards? Well, in an elastic collision, two things are true. And we're dealing with just the x direction here for now. So I'm going to write these as x momentums. But the two things that are true in an elastic collision are, number one, that the momentum is conserved. So I'm calling this A and B. So I can say PA1 plus PB1. That's the initial momentum before, is PA2 plus PB2. That's conservation of momentum. We have conservation of momentum whenever there are no external forces on our system. So if I include these two masses as my system and there's no other forces acting on them, because there's only the force of A pushing on B and B pushing back on A, equal and opposite, momentum is conserved. Okay, so I have that. I also have kinetic energy is conserved. In an elastic collision, particularly kinetic energy is conserved. So I can write that as Ka1 plus Kb1 equals Ka2 plus Kb2. Okay, so I want to find the velocities at the end. I have two unknown velocities, so I have two equations: conservation of momentum, conservation of kinetic energy. Let's just write these out as equations. So I'm going to put in, whenever I have 0, I have 0. So I have MA1, and I'm just going to call it M. They have the same mass. So MVA1, and that's the x direction, that's 0, is equal to MVA2 plus MVB2. The masses cancel. But I don't know VA1, I don't know VA2. Okay, I do know that one. So it's just 1. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in as 1. So I have, I know it's silly, but it's going to get better. 1 is VA2 plus VB2. That's what I have. Now for the kinetic energy of mass 1 is going to be 1/2 m VA1 squared. That one's not moving. It's going to be equal to 1/2 m VA2 squared plus 1/2 m VB2 squared. Mass cancels, 1/2 cancels, and that's 1. So I have 1 is VA2 squared plus VB2 squared. Okay, two equations, two unknowns, right? So let's just go up here and solve for VA1, and I'm going to plug that in. So VA2, I'm sorry. VA2 is 1 minus VB2. Now if I plug that in down here, I have 1 equals that squared. I'm going to go ahead and square it out. 1 minus 2VB2 plus VB2, right? That's that, plus VB2 squared. Oh, that's squared. So the 1's cancel, and I get 0 equals negative 2VB plus 2VB squared. And I can move that to the other side. 2VB equals 2VB squared. So VB, so VB is going to be either equal to plus or minus 1. Well, no, I cancel that. So it's going to be equal to 1. Okay. So if VB is equal to 1, VA2 is equal to 0. Now, is it possible? If I had solved for the other way around, I would have gotten VA1 is 1 and VB2 is 0. Both of those are valid solutions. So what's going to happen is the ball is going to come in here, it's going to hit the ball, and that one's going to stop, and that one's going to move at the same speed, or it's just going to pass through and never hit it. Those are the two mathematical solutions to the inelastic collision. Now, I will tell you that if you have a glancing blow so that there's momentum in the y direction too, it is not easy. It's not impossible, but it's not easy. Okay. The end. Now I'm going to show you the awesome part. We can model this in Python. So I'm going to model this inelastic collision in Python. And what I'm going to do is to And this is a lot like my torpedo bat calculation, if you saw that video. So I have this ball coming in, and I'm going to calculate, so this is A, and this is B. I'm going to calculate the vector r. So r is going to be RA minus RB. That's the vector between those two. Now, if that vector, the magnitude of that is less than 2r, so if, that's the if, the magnitude of r is less than 2r, then I'm going to calculate a force on this as negative k times 2r minus the magnitude of r. Now that can't be true because that's a scalar spring constant. That's a scalar, that's a scalar, that's a force. So I'm going to multiply this by r hat, the unit vector in the direction of r. And then, so what I'm going to do is to let these two things come in, and if they overlap, there's going to be a force pushing them apart. If they're not overlapping, there's no force. And then I can say F is delta P, delta T. During a short time interval, I can use that to update the momentum. I can use the momentum to update the position. I'm not going to go into all the details of, I guess I should. P2 minus P1, this is for either particle, over delta T. So that gives me P2, P1 plus F delta T. Now, for the other object, it has the same force but in the opposite direction, so it's going to have a negative sign. Now, once I do that, I can say P is going to be equal to M delta R delta T, where R is the change in position. So it's going to be M R2 minus R1 over delta T. And this assumes I'm have a short time interval, right? And so I can get R2 is R1 plus P over M delta T. So what I do is to, one, calculate the distance between the two spheres. If it overlaps, calculate the force. If there is a force or not, there's a force, it could be 0. Use that to update the momentum, use that to update the position. Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. Python. So I'm going to pick a smaller masses with a little different speed, but I'm just going to make two spheres, and then I'm going to move them. They're not going to collide. We're going to build this piece by piece. So I'm going to say, what should I call it? Ball A, or just A, or BA. I'm going to call it BA. BA is a sphere. I'm going to put up here R. Capital R is 0.01. I'm just picking a value. So this is a sphere, and its position is going to be off to the left, so I can collide it. So I'm going to say the position is the vector negative 8 times R, 0, 0. And then it has a radius of R. It has a color of color dot yellow, and then make trail equals true, because that'll be cool. Now let's make the other one, BB. Capital letters do matter. Sphere, this one's going to be at the origin. Vector 0, 0, 0. Radius is equal to R. Color equals color dot cyan. If you use a black background, cyan, magenta, and yellow work the best for the colors. If you change the background to white, red, green, and blue work better. That's just because this is the way colors work. Make trail equals true. Okay, now I need to give them some initial velocities and momentums and masses. So let's say BA dot M, the mass is 1. B dot M, the mass is 1. That's what we used before. I needed the initial velocity. I'm just going to pick a value. V0 is going to be equal to, let's say, 0.05. I don't know if that's fast enough. Well, that's why I put that there. Now, BA dot P, the momentum is BA dot M times the vector V0, 0, 0, and then BB dot P equals BB dot M times vector 0, 0, 0. Okay, and I'm not going to do a collision, right? So T is 0, dt is 0.01. I am going to need a K. Let's say K is 500. I don't even know if that's high enough, but I want the spring constant to be high, okay? While T is less than 3, I'm just picking a value, rate 100. So I'm just going to move ball A. That's all I want to do. So ball A dot POS equals ball, ball A dot POS plus ball A dot P times dt divided by ball A dot M, and then update time. Okay, so that's all we have. Run it. And this is really nice. It just passes right through it because we never told it to do anything. VPython is not real. VPython is not a simulation. It's a calculation. I didn't tell it to change anything, so it just went right through there. And if you're going to do intro physics and do something with calculations in collisions, you have to do this. You are legally required to do this, I promise you. Okay. So now all I need to do is detect if there's a collision. So up here, I'm going to calculate R, and I may get things backwards, and if I do, I'm fine with that. BA.POS minus BB.POS. That's that vector from B to A. And then I'm going to say if the magnitude of R is less than 2 times R, actually I'm going to go up here. I'm going to use the force, so I need to make sure I have a force. So if I change the force, then that's fine. It's going to use the new force. If I never have a collision, I still need a force of 0. Otherwise, Python gets mad. So every time at the beginning of the loop, I'm going to reset the force to 0 and then check if there's a collision. So if there is a collision, then F is going to be equal to negative K times 2 times R minus mag of R. So mag of R is a built-in VPython thing that returns the magnitude of a vector. So I don't have to calculate that. So that is a vector thing. And then I need to multiply by a unit vector, which is also built in, norm R. So now I have a vector value for the force. With that, whether it's 0 or whether it's not 0, I can update the momentum. So let's do that. BA dot P equals B, and again, I might have this backwards. BA, I think it's okay. BA, no wait. If it's less than, so this is going to be a positive number, and R is, and I don't think there should be a negative sign there, plus F times dt. And then I need to update the momentum of B also. So B dot P, is this big enough? I think it is. Okay. B dot P is B dot P minus F times dt because it has the equal and opposite force. Now I need to also update the position of BB dot POS is BB dot POS. Notice I am saying capital B if you can listen. Plus BB dot P times dt divided by BB dot M. See? Okay. Let's see if it works. Okay, so that's kind of awesome, right? We didn't tell it to conserve momentum. It just conserved momentum. We didn't tell it to conserve energy, kinetic energy. It just did that, right? We calculated that one mass should stop and the other one should move on. And that agrees with what we did. If you want to make a graph and plot the momentum as a function of time in the x direction, and if you want to plot the kinetic energy, you can do that, okay? And I might do that. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, if you've waited 13 minutes and 37 seconds to see something awesome, now is the time to do the awesome stuff. So remember I said if it's a non-two-dimensional, it's a two-dimensional collision, things get really difficult to solve. So let's just do a two-dimensional collision here. So what would happen if I take mass A, instead of having them a head-on collision, I just shifted up some amount. So I'm going to give it a y value of 0.5 times r. So it's a different value. And I'm going to run it. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to change the initial position. Still moving in the x direction, right? But they're not going to hit head-on. So it worked. So, and you can check that it works. Okay. So here, why does this work is because, remember, we calculate the vector from the center of this to the center of that. So if they have a glancing collision, that force is no longer in the x direction, but it's in the same direction as r hat. So r hat's not in the x direction, so you get this force that's not in the x direction, and you get a change in x momentum or y momentum, and that's what makes it move up. And the same is true for the other mass, so it moves down. So one of the things that's really difficult to show, but it is true, I think it's true just for equal masses. If you have equal masses colliding with constant, with an elastic collision, the angle between these two would be 90 degrees. I'm pretty sure that's true. Let's just jump that angle up even higher and see if we can get a different thing. Let's change this to 0.75 and run it. See if it also looks like it's 90 degrees. Yeah, right there, 90 degrees. See, that's 90 degrees. And this is in 3D. If you want to rotate it around, you can. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that. So you can do awesome collisions, and now I don't even have to have them have the same mass. They can have any mass they want, right? It doesn't matter. So if I do that, I can change this one to twice the mass. Yeah, and they're not 90 degrees, okay? So you get this bounce off collision. You can change the size of the two objects. You can do a whole bunch of stuff. This is a great thing. Now, you may ask yourself, and you should, well, what about inelastic collisions? Inelastic collisions are a little bit tougher, okay? Really, I'm not going to do it here. This is that case where inelastic collisions on the board are easier. Inelastic collisions on Python are harder. So what you do, there's two things you can do. You can take the collision to solve for the momentum and say, okay, now they have the same velocity. Or you can have that spring not turn off. So you can have a parameter in there that says, okay, did they collide? And if they collide, the force is always calculated as that spring force. So when they try to move apart, it pulls them back together and they kind of oscillate like that. And that oscillation shows you where the extra energy goes, right? So that's kind of cool. If you want an inelastic collision that is, or it's a collision that's not elastic, it's not inelastic, then that's a lot harder too. So, okay. But I will give you a link to this code down below. You have to do this if you're teaching a physics class. It's the best thing ever, and I'll talk to you later.